Hey everybody and welcome back to the channel. It's the Sketch Monkey here. In this video we're going to have a look at the Aston Martin Vantage, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn it into a four-door sedan. So pretty much a Aston Martin repeat, a second generation of it. So the first generation was a DB7 with an extended wheelbase. So you might think it would be more logical to take the new Vanquish and extend that wheelbase. Yes, we could do that, but me personally, I like the Vantage design better, and I really want to see what this would look like as a four-door sedan. So that's exactly what we're going to do in this video. So what does that mean exactly? What are we going to do and change to this design? Adding a second pair of doors is obviously going to create a bunch of challenges that we need to figure out. First of all, we need to cut this car right about here. The obvious change is going to be extending the wheelbase, and the wheelbase is the distance between these two axles here. So this is going to be extended. I want to have it to probably this point. The car is going to end somewhere around here, and since it's a sedan, I kind of want to have it be even more elegant than the Vantage is. And by that I mean I want to lower this ducktail here. I love this ducktail, but if we're going to put it on a sedan, I want it to be just a bit more subtle. This to me it suits the Vantage great because it's a two-door sports car, and it needs to have it just fits a sports car better to have such a pronounced ducktail. But if we're going to apply it to a sedan, we might want to take that down just a little bit. And you see this line right here, the shoulder line, is almost a continuous curve right here. What I want to do here is, so if we cut the car right here in the middle, what I want to do is add some beefiness to the rear fender. And by that I mean add a bit of curvature, just a very tiny bit, but it's going to make a huge difference in the approach and in the sportiness of the sedan. So if we're removing the ducktail, not removing it, but if we're reducing the ducktail, I want to add something to balance that out. Now, some other challenges that we're going to encounter when we add another set of doors to this car is we need to figure out the cut lines for the door and how this cut line is going to go. If we want to have a straight line like this, if you want to have it curve around the wheel like this, all of this needs to be figured out as we go along. And also, of course, when you cut the car right here, none of these lines are going to match up anymore. So we need to do a bunch of sketching and a bunch of the, the clone stamp tool to figure that out and blend everything together so that you can't really tell that it's been cut up in Photoshop and mashed together like this. So that's about it. Enough talking. Now let's jump in to the actual redesign. Let's get to work and let's see how this is going to turn out. So let's start by chopping up this beautiful Aston Martin Vantage. It is a bit weird because it's such a beautiful car, but still I want to see what it looks like in a four-door setup. And of course, that means we need to extend the whole car and make room for another set of doors. And when we do that, we have this headache right here. And this is probably what takes the most time when doing these kind of changes to a design, is to go in and figure out and sketch in all the tiny details and the lines to make them match up again. Because when you cut it, you have curves everywhere. Nothing is a straight line. So it doesn't matter where you cut the car, you're still going to have to do a bunch of fixing up the lines like I do right here. But you know, with Photoshop, it's not that hard. You have the clone stamp tool, and that's the tool I'm using right now, which is kind of magic. You can just see how it takes information from one spot of the car. So it takes all the colors and the values and everything from one part of the car, and then you can use that as a brush and paint that exact shade or pattern or whatever it is you have decided to clone. So it's very useful, and it's not that hard to do. It just takes a long time to do it. So once I'm done here with the cut line, I want to go in and figure out the window situation here. We need to, of course, make a separation between the two doors, and the cut line of the doors, it needs a separation up in the window as well, and that's what I'm doing right here. I was thinking that I could maybe copy the part that that's right on the C-pillar, that plastic part that goes down there, but it didn't work out, so I decided to just paint the separation in there as well. And I do that by copying the colors with the color picker of the plastic parts that are already in the car. And obviously, if you are going to have 4 doors, that means that you're going to need 4 door handles. So I just copy pasted the front door handle after I moved it into the correct position, because if we're adding a second pair of doors, we need to move the whole cut line for the front door forward, and that means moving the handle as well. The thing with the Vantage that I think they could have done better from stock is to fill out the wheelhouses better. So that's an easy change that I wanted to do, and especially if we have a longer wheelbase car and an overall bigger car, I think it's more important to have the wheels really fill up the wheelbase and not make it look like there is a lot of air in between the wheel and the body of the car. This is one of those really tiny changes that I think makes a huge difference. If you look at it, if you go back a couple of seconds and look at it before I made the curvature to the rear fender, it looks good. It looks very clean and elegant, and I understand that that's the approach that any Aston Martin goes for. But to add some Italian passion to the design, I just wanted to add this tiny curvature to the rear fender and have that aggressiveness and beefiness to the rear end. It makes it look like it's ready to pounce, and it has all the power in the rear, and then it gets narrower the closer to the front you get. From here, there are just a few details to fix up. I wanted to fix the rear passenger door window and have them get some more light in there and not have it be covered up too much. So I redesigned the rear passenger windows to suit a sedan better. And some final touches is to just adjust the coloring and the warm tone of the entire image itself. It just makes it look more inviting. And we are done with the redesign of the Aston Martin Vantage, turning it into a second generation Rapide. The biggest challenge, in case you didn't notice, for me when I was doing this, was this part right here, the rear with the passenger door windows. I thought if I just have it close to the Vantage stock window, it was too narrow. The height of it, you were not going to be able to see anything out of it. So this part body panel that we had down here, I decided to cut that up and turn it into more window space. Another thing that I really wanted to add to this redesign was this shoulder line that I was talking about in the beginning of the video. And I think it really turned out great. It gives it more of a powerful stance, and especially if you look at it from the rear or 3/4 rear view. This curvature here, the more of a rear view you look at it from, the more pronounced it's going to be. And I think it suits this car very well. Same thing with this tiny change up here with the ducktail, making it lower than on the Vantage suits a sedan better than if we have a massive integrated ducktail like we have on the stock Vantage. And those are my foster kittens back there screaming because they're fighting and playing as always. Final touches that I did to this car was, of course, make the wheels bigger and also figure out this cut line here. I decided to go with a cut line that follows the shape of the wheel arch. It just makes more sense because you're gonna get a lot more door when you do this instead of cutting the door right here as they do on the first generation Rapide. And that's about it. I think we are done with this transformation video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me today. I'm the Sketch Monkey. I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.